Hey guys, it's Frodo here, and today we're going to be reading some r/Let's Not Meet. Just stories about creepy people that some people have met that they would not want to meet again. Let's get right into it. I was nearly a victim. Okay, so this may not be as scary as some, but it really creeped me out when I realized what could have happened. So when I was 11 years old, I lived in a house surrounded by a complex for the elderly. My family were the only residents with children. Myself and my 3 brothers. I'm a girl, by the way. So in this particular complex, there was a guy that would come and always help out the old people. He always used to talk to us playing outside. The windows of the complex would face directly to our house so they could look and see us playing often. Most days he would just wave and say hi. We always saw him, so we didn't think much of it. One day, he decided to come over and speak to us about what we were doing. What games we liked, just general stuff. But whenever my mom came out, he would always say his goodbyes and scuttle back into the complex. We would often catch him staring at us through the top windows. That particular day, not long after my mom had gone back inside, he came back. I remember the feeling I got and I couldn't quite pinpoint it. I was the eldest out of our group and the only girl. He started asking me about cameras and if I liked photography. I said yes, as I was always taking photos with the disposable camera my mom gave me. He kept saying he was a photographer for a catalog and he thought I would be great for it. He also mentioned he had just got a load of new bikinis in and asked if I would like to come to try them on for a catalog. I had never seen this guy with a camera and he was always scruffy. He certainly didn't look like a polished professional. Now, although I was 11, I was pretty streetwise and I had a bad feeling. He asked me to come over right away and his place was a short walk away. So if we were to leave now, I would be back before it got dark. He was practically pulling me by the hand to go with him. I started to feel pretty scared at this point and began to make excuses and said I had to ask my mom. I broke free and practically ran back home. When I told my mom what had happened, she disappeared for half an hour and came back looking extremely angry and a bit shaken up. I never saw him again. And now that I'm older, I realize the danger I could have been in. God knows what could have happened to me if I actually went to his house. So, creepy guy with the camera, let's not meet. That one's pretty disturbing. I'm glad you were streetwise enough to get away from it because so many 11-year-olds wouldn't be. It's really good that you made it out and that you were smart enough to realize that you should not, go hang out with this guy. It's really, really good that you realized that early on. And it's good that your mom went to talk to him and set him straight. She apparently scared him off pretty good because you never saw him again, which is really, really good too. It ends up being a happy ending, but such a disturbing story of what might have happened if you did go with him. Attempted break-in. So I should probably add some backstory. My father, we'll call him Wayne, worked in a machine shop across town which had its fair share of characters there. One of these people, we'll call him something different for the story, was James. Now James was one of those guys that would seem normal at first but had one hell of a temper. One minute you can be eating lunch and next it would be trying to fight you over the smallest things. So while my father was at work, James had come in absolutely drunk, which many of the guys had done before. But James could barely function, let alone operate a mill. My father pulled him aside and told him he needs to leave, and that him coming in drunk could possibly get him or someone else hurt, which leads to him getting pissed and trying to fight my father. Now James isn't a small guy. He's 6 foot and on the larger side while my father was only 5'6". James had grabbed a metal pole and was swinging it around trying to hit my father. Thankfully he didn't hit him, but he tore the hell out of a door before being restrained by the other workers and was kicked out and fired. My father ended up leaving work early and made his way to a friend's house to have a beer and calm his nerves. Later on in the day, 8-year-old me is home alone as my mother was at the store getting groceries. I was playing Halo 3 at the time before hearing a knock at the door. I walked up to the door and see James through the window. Although I didn't know him well, as I've only met him once, I knew him well enough to know he wasn't a stranger, so I opened the door. "Is your father home?" he had said in the nicest tone he could muster, his breath smelling of alcohol. I had said no, but somehow my 8-year-old self knew well enough not to say I was home alone.
My mom is in the shower.
That was an absolute lie. Her truck wasn't even in the driveway, and it was obvious I was home alone. He had nodded, walking away from the door a little before I closed it, promptly locking it before going back to my game. A few minutes passed and my mother arrives home with a few groceries. Once they were brought inside, we'd heard a bang at the door. Then another. This was not like a knock. someone was banging on our door trying to get in. My mother had looked through the window before grabbing me and the phone and running into the bedroom closet, which had a lock. All the while, the sound of the banging could be heard in the background. For what seemed like hours, we waited in the closet, still hearing the loud bangs as he had started charging into the door with his shoulder, screaming like a maniac. After about 15 minutes, we heard the familiar sound of a police siren as we heard the confrontation outside. It didn't take long for them to arrest the man. My mother stayed on the line with the 911 operator until we finally walked out seeing James in the cuffs in the back of a patrol car. My father rushed home and hugged us both, James staring at us with bloodlust in his eyes. Although it wasn't confirmed, I had a good feeling that he was after my dad, wanting to finish the job and beating him and killing him. He had seen my mother's truck, thinking it was my father's, as he drives it to work every now and again. To the man who tried to break into our home, to the man who tried to kill my father, I hope we never meet again. Bro, that one is just on another level. That's so shady. You were home alone. I feel so bad for you. I mean, it's good that he believed you and that, you thought quickly on your feet to say that your mom was in the shower, but like, what if you didn't? He could have abducted you to get back at your father. It really could have been a bad situation if he actually knew you were home alone. It's good that your mother, got home quick and she knew exactly what to do. She called 911, locked herself in a relatively safe place. But that guy, he's just crazy on another level. Not to mention that he's an alcoholic, but it's kind of understandable to get in a fight when you're drunk, or to get, irrationally angry when you're drunk. I can see that happening. Not that it's, excusable, but I can see it happening at least. But to go that far, to go to his house, track him down and, try to hurt him, go to where his family lives and try to hurt him, that's just messed up, bro. That guy had a lot of things wrong with him, not to mention that he was an alcoholic. And, it's really good that you got out of that safely. It's really, really good, because so many things could have happened. Your whole family, it's good that your whole family is safe, in that, there was a happy ending. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. Tell me what you thought of the stories in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you like me, if you like my voice, if you like my opinions, give me a subscribe and ring the bell too if you want to be notified when I upload again. But other than that, I'm gonna get going. Bye.